I just realized the screen hadn't been added. Welcome to your daily dose of salt and light with myself, Nadine Ness. We've got controversies that we're covering today. So, we're going to talk about Marine Le Pen from France. We're going to talk about Mark Carney's plans for the housing in Canada that I have to say is starting to look a lot more like communism. And we're going to talk about Paul Chiang, which I'm looking right now at a post by Michael Chong. So I'll be sharing some of that with you guys. Those are the main three things I'm going to talk about. I am going to have to make the episode shorter than usual. And also, I talked about this that I was planning on making the show not a daily thing just because I'm finding I don't have time to do any of the editing for the smaller videos. And so it's not getting done. And I also need to do a bit more construction on the house, and that's going to start taking a little bit more of my time. So I think I haven't decided which day yet, but this week I won't have an episode tomorrow and I won't have one on Thursday, but I should have one Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I wish I could match it to my son's daycare schedule because it actually works great when he has not daycare. Um kindergarten schedule. It works great when I have to go pick him up because it's not like I can start a project, but when he's home and I have a childcare here. So for now I do. Things will probably change again in April. My childcare will not be available, so I don't know yet what I'm going to do for the show. But good morning, Jonathan and David, who are watching. Let me know where you're watching from too, if anyone else is watching. So far, it's showing that everything is streaming fine. But yeah, we'll have to kind of play by ear. I'm a mom first, so I have 4 kids, so they take priority. So this show, whether even though I would love it to be like a permanent thing always at the right time, it doesn't fit within our family right now. I would have to prioritize this over my kids, and that's just not an option at the moment. So again, I had to go pick them up and not pick them up, drive them in the city. And then since I was in the city, I got some groceries. But so I'm starting a bit later today. I was even contemplating not having an episode today, but I thought, oh, people are probably going to be waiting. And I haven't told you guys yet for sure that I was going to dwindle it down to less days. So yeah, it's not going to be called your daily dose of salt and light. I tried it. It's just, again, I'm not getting much of the other work done. So Joan is watching from Prince Albert and Linda from Eyebrow. Where is that? Is that in Saskatchewan? No, can't be. Or is that a spelling mistake? I've never even heard of that place. If it's from Saskatchewan, it's the one place I've never heard of. Maybe Ontario? I don't know. We'll see what you say. But okay, let's get started. I was trying to figure out the best way to kind of cover what occurred. If you haven't been following, it's by Leek Diefenbaker. Oh, so it is in Saskatchewan. I've never even heard of it. Oh, there's a bald eagle that just flew by. I have windows behind my screens, and so I can see the wildlife and the dogs chasing gophers. They got their first gopher of the year yesterday, and I keep throwing it away, and they keep bringing it back and putting it in right in front of the front door, just to show me, to make sure I know they've caught a gopher. So I just kind of find it funny. It's kind of early in the season. Bunny says Mark Carney must fire Paul Chiang as the Liberal candidate for Markham Unionville. I'm torn on this. While I do think he should be fired, there's less likely chances that he'll win and more likely chance that the Conservative candidate will win if you keep him. So part of me is like, oh, just keep him. But at the same time, what if he does win and becomes part of government? He's extremely compromised, in my opinion. But anyways, I'll share with you guys the post. So this is Paul Chiang. Is he currently a sitting MP or is he just running? No, he must be currently sitting. So they're just finding out about this now? Anyways, there's 2 statement. The other one was on March 28th, so 3 days ago. The comments I made were deplorable and a complete lapse of judgment on the seriousness of the matter. As a former police officer, I should have known better. I sincerely apologize and deeply regret my comments. I will always continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with the people of Hong Kong in their fight to safeguard their human rights. So there's a community note here. I'm just going to see if I click on that. Is so this was a press release. Do you guys see that? No, here. I'm going to share the bigger screen. Give me 1 second. Here it is. Whoops. Trying to make it work. So this is a statement from Toronto Association for Democracy in China. China's election interference in this year's federal election. So this must be a group that kind of raises awareness as to China's influence in Canada, but I'll read the article. China has once again stepped up on activities to interfere in the upcoming Canadian federal election. Liberal candidate Paul Chiang, seeking re-election at Markham Unionville, recently spoke openly about the Hong Kong 1 million bounty placed on Hong Kong police Joe Tay, a conservative candidate at Don Valley North. So they're quoting his words here. To everyone here, you can claim the $1 million bounty if you bring him to Toronto's Chinese consulate, Chiang reportedly told Ming Pao, a Chinese language media, during an ethnic media conference in January. This is shocking. Mr. Chiang, is it Chiang? Am I saying this right? David says he's an MP. So confirming it. I figure because of his profile. This is shocking. Mr. Chiang openly encouraged people to assist in China's interference in transnational repression, said Chuck Kwan, co-chair of the Toronto Association for Democracy in China, TADC. Rather than protecting Canadians, he betrayed them and jeopardized their safety. Last December, when Hong Kong police announced a bounty on Tay and other members of the Hong Kong diaspora around the world, Minister of Foreign Affairs Melanie Joly warned that attempts by Hong Kong authorities to conduct transnational repression abroad, including by issuing threats, intimidation, and coercion against Canadians or those in Canada, will not be tolerated. She says stuff like that all the time. They're just words. They're tolerating it. They're keeping this guy in their party. I didn't realize it was this extreme. China has been mobilizing voters, especially those in ridings with a high concentration of Chinese Canadians, to vote for China-friendly candidates. A purportedly, I don't know how to say that word, assisted in the campaign of CHIANG to defeat a highly popular conservative incumbent in the 2021 election. As well, incumbent MP Kenny Chiu from Stevenson, Richmond East, was defeated in the same election by an orchestrated disinformation campaign on WeChat, a Chinese social media. Chiu, originally from Hong Kong, has angered China by speaking out against that country's treatment of, I don't know how to say that. Is it Uyghurs? Uyghurs? I should know that, but I don't know it. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. And introducing a private member's bill to establish the Foreign Influence Registry. Another conservative candidate has been appointed by the party to run in this election. So I'm not gonna there's one more paragraph. I might as well finish. This is another example of China exerted undue influence in our election, said Gabrielle Yu, a current affairs commentator. Our political parties are being held hostage in the sense they are afraid to run candidates not favored by China. Okay, that's interesting. So basically, what the last paragraph they're saying is, hmm, interesting. So let's see what else. I have information from a lot of people on this. So I'm just going to kind of go through. He made another post. Paul Chang made another post today or 15 hours ago. So was that today? No, yesterday? Late? It says, today I spoke with Joseph Tay, the conservative candidate for Don Valley North, to personally apologize for the comments that I made this past January. It was a terrible lapse of judgment. I recognize the severity of the statement and I'm deeply disappointed in myself. As a 28-year police veteran, I have always strived to treat people with respect and dignity. In this case, I failed to meet that standard. I know better and it will never happen again. Mark Carney says, oh, this was a learning moment. Here, we're going to. Oh, this is a long post. I was going to read some of it, but it's too long. But here's Can you explain? Let me know if the sound doesn't work. Sometimes there's like glitches where it's not working. Oh, it's super low. Just a sec.
Talked about turning over a conservative candidate to the Chinese consulate to receive a bounty placed on him by the Chinese Communist Party. Can you explain why you've not dropped him as a Liberal candidate?
Thank you for the question. Look, the comments were deeply offensive. Terrible. This is a terrible lapse of judgment by Mr. Chang. He has apologized for those comments. He has apologized directly now
this
to,
past January, yes,
person,
Debbie.
that he mentioned. Apologized directly to him yesterday. I've spoken to Mr. Chang as well over the course of the weekend to understand his position. He is a veteran policeman. Mr. Chang is a veteran policeman with more than a quarter century of service to his community. 28 years of defending rights in his community. And
it's echoing. Is the echo gone?
He will continue with his candidacy going forward, having made those apologies very clearly to the individual, to the community, and moving forward to serve. Alors, les commentaires.
Oh, then he's just repeating. Is the echo still happening? I wonder if it's because of the ding when I raise the volume. Usually it's pretty good and doesn't do it, but David says that Carney will allow this man to stay in the party. What does that say to what he will do going forward? Yeah. And he says Carney is frightening. He is. Now, let's see. I'm shocked at this. This is not just a small statement either. There's another video that I'm going to play here by Mario Zelaya. Is it Zelaya? I think that's how you say it. I'm going to read it first. Carney just endorsed a crime and a criminal. What Paul Chang did violates Section 464 of the Criminal Code. Joe Tay can press charges. It's called counseling offense that is not committed. Everyone who counsels another person to commit an indictable offense, if the offense is not committed, is if the offense is not committed, guilty of an indictable offense and liable to the same punishment to which a person who attempts to commit that offense is liable. Let's I'd like to open my you know what? I'm going to play this. I'm going to see if I can go grab my criminal code and look that up, or maybe I can look it up. See, my criminal code has, do I have it back here? Usually I did. I'll play the video. I'll see if I can run and grab it anyways. I've got to switch screens so you guys can hear it there.
I'm going to read something to you, and it's going to blow your mind. This is section 464 of the Criminal Code in Canada. It says counseling offense that is not committed. Except where otherwise expressly provided by the law, the following provisions apply in respect of persons who counsel other persons to commit offenses, namely, everyone who counsels another person to commit an indictable offense, if the offense is not committed, is guilty of an indictable offense and liable to the same punishment to which a person who attempts to commit that offense is liable. And everyone who counsels another person to commit an offense punishable on summary conviction is, if the offense is not committed, guilty of an offense punishable on summary conviction. In my opinion, Mark Carney just endorsed someone who committed a crime. He's standing by a candidate, Paul CHIANG, who suggested the conservative Joe Tay be turned over to China for a bounty. He asked for him to be kidnapped and sent to the Chinese consulate here in Canada. It's literally election interference, and he's committing a crime. Don't take my word for it. Read section 464 for yourself.
I'm curious if I couldn't find my criminal code. I'm just I want to have a look, but my criminal code has like side notes on the side, but that certain elements of the offense will have to be met. I don't have someone said use AI to search it. Yeah, but it wouldn't be there. It's only in the police version of the criminal code. I mean, I could. Let's see. I'll use Grok. And see what it comes up as. Yeah, I'm in my criminal code, there'll be like the regular wording, and then they'll underneath or on the side they'll have different explanations. So sometimes to commit a crime, there's like the regular wording for the crime, but then there's elements of the offense that need to be met for specific offense to matter. I got someone looking for it. So if she finds it, she's going to bring it to me, and then we can kind of dive deep into it to see if the specific elements of the offense are met. But interesting though. I wonder if Joe, so this is the guy that was targeted. Whoops. I wasn't following him, but I'll follow him now. Joe Tay. Can you guys hear that beep? My oven is the timer's going off. This is Ben Mulrooney had some words on it. Mackenzie Gray posted, I asked CARNEY about CHIANG, and he says after a conversation with CHIANG, he still has confidence in him, views this as a teachable moment, adding, the incidents were deeply offensive. This is a terrible lapse of judgment. I will say Mark Carney not kicking him out of the party is just as high of a lapse of judgment, in my opinion. He will continue with his candidacy going forward. This is what, but we've kind of played that already. What else do I got here? There's a video.
Paul CHIANG, one of your
sorry if that was really loud. I won't play the video because I think it's the same one I just played. Paul CHIANG has uttered one of the most undemocratic things ever said in an election. that his political opponent be handed over to a hostile regime for a bounty. Mark Carney's decision to stand behind Chiang will negatively impact our democracy for years to come. I didn't even know this had occurred. Like the whole bounty to begin with. So I didn't know that that was something that China had put out there and that Melanie Jolie had addressed. But interesting anyways. This is another video. I'm just going to see if it's super loud.
People from
Yeah, it is. It's weird because some videos are not loud and then some videos are super loud. Oh, this is a post. I'll read this post and then I'll play the video. Outrageous reply to Judy Trin from CARNEY. Oh, he's just quoting. Let's just play the video.
Of Chinese ethnic origin, and of that, Judy Trin, CTV News. Mr. Carney, I'd like to press you a little bit more on Paul Chiang. He lives in a riding that is 70% diverse, people of color. Half of that are people of Chinese ethnic origin, and of that population, about 20% are from mainland China. The question that people from Hong Kong have asked me to ask is whether or not you are putting appeal to those voters who may support the policies of China ahead of the democratic rights and safety of dissidents who have called Canada home, and mainly Hong Kong democracy activists who now live in Mr. Chiang's riding.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Stand foursquare for rights, foursquare for our position, our very strong position vis-a-vis China, respect for Canadian citizens, all rights of Canadian citizens, irrespective of whether they hold dual citizenship or not, to be absolutely clear. And Mr. Chiang has long history of service to that community, history of protecting those rights. Mr. Chiang is well aware of these issues, including having family in Hong Kong.
How can he be an effective representative for them when they no longer trust him after he said this? The question, as you know, Mr. Carney, you know that Canada has executed 4 Canadians this year.
China.
You know that there are human rights activists in China in detention right now. How can Mr. Chiang, how can your party keep him as a candidate knowing this context?
Mr. Chiang has apologized for his comments. It's a lapse of judgment. He apologized for he's apologized for his comments. He's apologized directly to me. He's apologized directly to the individual. He has a long record of service. He's going to continue his candidacy. Okay.
Monsieur Carney, Hélène Bocca de la presse canadienne.
For one, I want to point out that I'm glad someone's asking the tough question. Who's Judy Trin, though? I just want to see. I'm just going to search her quick. Oh, how do you spell it? Trin? Let's go back. I'll just copy it first. I want to see who she's with. CTV News. Here, this is her. Former refugee. I'm going to have a look at her profile later on. David Jacob says, Paul Chiang says he's apologized. Joe Tay says otherwise. Mark Carney says the issue is closed, except it isn't. Closing this ugly incident is not up to Carney. It's up to Joe Tay, the man threatened by Carney's candidate. Oh, the tea is good. Okay, so Paul Chiang says he spoke with Joseph Tay, but Joseph Tay issued a statement. Well, maybe the statement was before. Let's see. This is a photo of it, but it doesn't say when it was posted. Sorry, you guys can't see. This was the post that I was referring to. But this statement was released today. Let's go see. Let's go see if it's if it's tea, actual tea. Okay. Joseph. I want to see when he posted it. Did I write it right? Oh no, maybe not. Oh no, it disappeared. Oh, there you go. Oh, it's just Joe T. Let's search that. It's not coming up. Anyways, I'll read the statement. For immediate release. Today, Joe Tay, Conservative candidate for Don Valley North, issued the following statement. Mark Carney must fire Paul Chiang as the Liberal candidate for Markville, Unionville. His threatening public comments were intended to intimidate me, and they must not be tolerated. Further, last night he made an unsolicited attempt to contact me to discuss this matter and was, sorry, I can't read it. It's too small. I just got to make it bigger. There you go. And then I'll share the screen with you guys so you can see it too. Further, last night he made an unsolicited attempt to contact me to discuss this matter and has posted on social media that he offered me an apology. I want to be clear, no apology is sufficient. Threats like these are the tradecraft of the Chinese Communist Party to interfere in Canada, and they are not just aimed at me. They are intended to send a chilling signal to the entire community in order to force compliance to Beijing's political goals. This situation has left me fearing for my safety, even prior to Mr. Chiang's insidious comments coming to light. I had been in touch with the RCMP regarding my personal protection, suggesting that people collect a bounty from the Chinese Communist Party to deliver a political opponent to the Chinese consulate is disgusting and must never be condoned. Wow. This is strongly worded. Rightfully so. But imagine if you were Joe Tay right now. I'd be afraid. The bounty's not little. $1 million? How do we know somebody's not going to try to cash in on that? This is unreal. This is way bigger scandal than I thought it was. Here, I'm just I'm going to read a few comments. Ooh, okay. I'm going to read some. Albert says that he's heard that Mark Carney might stand down as Liberal leader. Any rumors in Canada? Did you hear that in South Africa? Who else? Did they cut her mic when she was saying that Carney may have lack in judgment? Oh, did you stop hearing it? SR says this 5-10 years have been a stain on Canadian rights, freedom, and democracy. Yes, I 100% agree with you on that. Debbie Kane is saying, so will he press charges? I wonder. He should. I agree. Oh, Albert says he read it on Bookface. on Facebook. Neil Ness is saying, good morning, guys. I think it's afternoon. Isn't it afternoon where you are? I thought you were in Alberta. Bunny says, I saw that too. Foreign interference in the leadership campaign. Government of Canada to provide update. What? What? Okay. I don't want to get too excited, but just so people know, there was really sketchy stuff that occurred in the leadership campaign with Mark Carney. I'll just list you the gist, the gist of it. You had two candidates disqualified. You had Ruby Dalla, and what's the name of the other one? I can't remember. Ruby Dalla I had on the show just before the week before she got disqualified. Not only that, there was 400,000 eligible voters. However, just before the voting, they disqualified 250,000 voters. We don't know the reasons why 250,000 eligible voters were disqualified from voting, but that's not a small number. That left about 150,000 left to vote. I think how many people voted? I don't know the exact number. Let's ask Grok. How many people voted in the Liberal leadership race? But not only that, the results were really sketch. It was similar across all ridings. The number were similar across all ridings. So 151,899 people voted. This number represents the total vote cast and counted out of 163,836 authenticated voters from an initial pool of approximately 400,000 registered Liberals. Carney secured 85.9% of the vote, equating to 131,674 in a landslide victory. Even in Chrystia Freeland's riding, the percentage was the same. Imagine, she only, I think, how many votes? Here. Votes did Chrystia Freeland win in her own riding? Something insanely low. No, not in the election. But the leadership election. I don't know if Grok will be able to come up with the numbers. Do you guys know? It was something like 130. Yeah, it doesn't say. But it was extremely low. Imagine she didn't even get over 1,000 in her own riding. So, but yeah, the comments. So basically what they're saying, this is not a for sure, but what they're saying is because of the interference in the leadership campaign that occurred, that's why Mark Carney is going to be stepping down. Look, this is a rumor. It's not confirmed yet. So you didn't hear it as confirmed on my show, but that's what people are saying in the comments. The government of Canada is to provide updates on it. I did see that Elections Canada was going to provide an update, but let's Election Canada press release. I think they're supposed to do a press release. It was shared. Okay, Northern Perspective posted something. So let's they posted, so a lot of people were spinning conjectures and concerns over the site press conference that was held this morning. While we didn't know what the contents would be, we anticipated that this would be just an update and more of a check-in, which occurred in the last election as well. This is exactly what it was, and they reminded Canadians of what we have been warning against for a couple of months now. Foreign interference posts on social media and attempts to sow mistrust in our system and cause voter apathy and despair. Not every announcement is going to match the black pill narrative of the election is rigged, so there is no point in voting. Take a breath and figure out what you can do to help. Focus on what we need to do to win this next election and bring the change for Canada. So it was a nothing burger. So that can be it. Neil says, I just watched a video with Nadine and her sister about Carney, and it's upsetting and scary. Nadine who? I don't think it was me. Another Nadine? SR says, time to take Canada back from CCP liberals, LI-BRALS. And oh, I forgot to say when I was reading the statement from the Toronto Association for Democracy in China, when they talked about a candidate that was that there was an orchestrated disinformation campaign against him, Kenny Chu. I don't know if you guys saw my interview with Sam Cooper. He talked about Kenny Chu and what happened to him. Carly says, why does Canada always allow for foreigners to squabble over their foreign politics in Canada? Insufferable. Oh, Wyatt, you posted a link, but it won't let me see it. Can you send it to me on X and I'll see if I can open it up? Yeah, send it to me on X and I'll open it up. If you're still watching. It won't let me open it from Facebook. Bunny says Tay had death threats on him. Well, I would consider there being a bounty on his head to be handed to the Chinese Communist Party would be like a death threat too. DGD3, I don't know who you are. Keep up the good work, he says. There's a lot of Kool-Aid going around, and it is refreshing to find a good cup of coffee truth in your presentations. Well, some of this stuff I'm learning right along with you guys, right? I don't want to just go ahead and believe like the posts that people say. I want to go confirm it too. So it looks like this isn't one of the conspiracy that's going to be true. This one I was showing you guys. The Nothing Burger press release by Privy Council Office. Yeah, Heather says, I thought she got less than 200 votes in her own right. I think it was 130. Yeah, Squirrel, it was the Freeland's, the leadership race where Mark Carney won. In her own riding, Chrystia Freeland got like the same percentage as every single riding, and it was super low. Like you would think like her own riding would be higher because these are all people that know her. And Debbie says, well, I guess there are some smart people in her riding because who would vote for her? Well, for one, they'd have to not be liberals if they're smart. Yeah, Squirrel says, regardless, Magical Carney somehow got 80% of the vote out of 100,099 people. No, I think he got more than that. And it was 100 and I just had it up. Where did it go? Let's see if Grok can. Yeah, 151,899 voted. And Mark Carney got 131,674. Neil says it was like flipping a coin 100 times and expecting to get heads each time. Who has a podcast? Is it another Nadine? I've never heard of her. Okay, let's see what else I've got here. There's been a lot of conversation as well about Mark Carney having conflict of interest with China or having like secret relationship with China when he worked at Brookfield. Anyways, Michael Cooper MP posted something. Look what we dug up. Carney praised the Beijing regime as ambitious and said it has many strengths. The same Carney who has full confidence in Paul Chiang, the liberal who called on a Canadian citizen to be handed over to Beijing. Carney will never stand up for Canada. Let's it's just a short video, but I'm going to play it for you guys. We'll just switch screens so you can hear it.
One of the many strengths of China is their perspective, the medium long-term perspective. This is an ambitious G20. It's an ambitious Chinese leadership. One of the many strengths of China is
remember when Trudeau admired China? I know one thing that Carney probably admires from China, and that's their social credit system. It goes right along with his climate change ideology and agenda. Here's another video.
Carney may not have.
It's from CTV News. Let's see what they had to say. It's just a 2-minute video. I'll make it go faster.
Been out on the campaign trail today, but he is facing growing pressure to fire a Liberal Party candidate after the incumbent MP said his opponent should be turned over to the Chinese government. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
No family should ever have to worry about their safety.
Incumbent Liberal Paul Chiang, a former police officer in Ontario's York region, took aim at Conservative rival Joe Tay, a democracy activist in ethnic media. In a January interview with Mingpao News, Chiang urged people to bring Tay to the Chinese consulate in Toronto to collect a bounty of 1 million Hong Kong dollars.
This is the most kind of obvious example of the manifestation of China's foreign interference when a incumbent MP would say something like that to the press.
Hi, I'm Joe Tay.
Before he was a Conservative candidate, Tay, born in Hong Kong, criticized the region's administration for obeying China's orders to crack down on civilian rights. The opposition is calling on the Liberal leader to fire Chiang as a candidate.
If Mark Carney would allow his Liberal MP to make a comment like this, when would he ever protect Canada or Canadians against foreign hostility?
He is a police officer, and he ought to know that when the CCP went out and put a bounty on anybody, including Canadians, that cannot be acceptable.
Drawing more attention to the specter of foreign interference, Tay is running in Don Valley North, the same riding that former Liberal Han Dong represented. A commission looking into foreign interference cleared Dong of claims he had advised Chinese officials. As Mark Carney's campaign shifts to the Toronto region, the Liberals say Chiang has apologized for his significant lapse in judgment and is clear he'll stand shoulder to shoulder with the people of Hong Kong. But democracy advocates say they are unsure about that commitment. According to Statistics Canada, nearly half of the residents in Markham are ethnic Chinese. 1 in 5 come from China. Mark Carney says all the Liberal candidates have been carefully vetted for foreign interference, but it has been 2 months since Paul Chiang made his comments to Chinese language media. Heather.
Thank you, Judy.
This is like way worse than I thought. This is not just like a scandal where somebody like benefited financially. This is actually really bad. Okay, a few comments. Let's go through it. Did you post a comment? Sorry if I missed it, David. Try posting it again. David said, Northern perspective put out a video this AM. They got called by Ecos last night. One of the questions was, have you been jabbed? Oh, yes, it's not just them. I have someone on my board that was called. Was it on my board? Here, let's see. I'm trying to, I think it was on my board. I'll have to go back and look, but it's basically the same thing. It was what are your voting intentions? Is it liberal, conservative? It's a whole bunch of questions about the upcoming election. And then the last question was, have you been vaccinated for COVID-19? I don't know, David, if you want to post about Ezra again. And Debbie, I can't click on links. So if you want to send it to me on Messenger, then I can click on it. I have to reapply for monetization with YouTube. I'm eligible now to reapply. I just haven't done it yet. Truth Seeker said that we should send. Truth Seeker, what's her name? Is it here, I'll get her name right. She made a video basically saying you have a country that already operates the way Mark Carney wishes Canada would operate, the way the World Economic Forum would operate. And she, what's her? Oh, it doesn't say what her name is on here. What's her real name? I know it's Truth Seeker on social media, but I can't. Tage something. Hattie says, finally able to join your live this morning. Has it not been working? I was going to cover that. Jonathan was telling me about it. Hattie asks, have you looked at Blender's story? Is Trump backing Mark Carney for PM because of Brookfield Asset Management? Let's see if I can find it. Blender News. Let's see. Is it a long video or is it a short video? I'm just trying to find it here. Oh, they have quite a few videos. Let's see if I just search Trump in there. See what comes up. Maybe it'll come up. No, it's not. Maybe I'll play it next episode because I can't quite find it. Okay, Neil. Do you know what Nadine, not Nadine, but this Nadine you're talking about, do you know what her name is on YouTube? Like what the channel name is? Links doesn't work. Like I can't click on links and play a video. Yeah, Tajana. That's her name. Tajana? Yeah, okay. Let's get back to the next subject. After I just want to say one more post and we'll talk about Marine Le Pen. Tijuana, that's her name. Okay. This is from Sam Cooper. And he says this comment indicates Carney has no more regard for his security clearance than Trudeau. Teachable moment. What patronizing nonsense. Joe Tay says the comments are part of CCP tradecraft aimed at the whole community. Canadians need to fire Carney with this stance. Anyway, Sam Cooper had strong opinions on that. Okay, next subject is the announcement by Mark Carney to build homes. Let's play that video.
War, Canada faced a housing crisis.
Here.
We used to build things in this country. After the Second World War, Canada faced a housing crisis. The government built prefabricated homes that were easy to assemble and inexpensive. And those homes are still here 80 years later. Now we're in another housing crisis. And it's time your government got back into the business of building affordable homes. We will build new homes for Canadians at a pace not seen since the Second World War. We'll build a Canada you can afford.
I'm curious though. This is a few comments from that. Let's share. Oops. That's the other camera. I clicked on the wrong button. Building homes should never be government's business. Maintaining the economic condition in which sufficient homes are built to meet demand is the government's job. Yours has failed repeatedly and completely. The only reason we have a housing shortage is because there's been way, way, way too much immigration into Canada. But there's a few other comments here too. Jean-Philippe Fournier says, Carney proudly announcing the government is getting back in the business of building home must be the most frightening thing to hear if you want lower home prices. If anything, getting the government in this business will make things worse. I thought this guy had a PhD in economics. Graham Greene says it's sounding more like a PhD in communism, not economics. Anything the government does always ends up costing more. If you look at the private industry when they're building like a business or building a structure, private industry will have different pricing than government industry. And I know this in the trades too. And I know a lot of people who work in the trades, when it's a government contract, they will always add way, way higher price in their quotes that they send out or their bid for the job. They'll add way more if it's government. There's nothing that I know that has been built for less than the private sector. And David says government built homes will be slaves to red tape and green regulation agenda. No natural gas, only electric, all costly. Debbie says it's funny because both party shared things on building homes. It seems like PP shared on, then later CARNEY shared one as well. I'm curious as to what Pierre built. Well, Pierre's been posting about this because it's one of the things at the top of the minds of a lot of voters. It's like one of the key issues, the cost of housing. But let's see what else there is here. David Jacob posted, Carney wants the government to build your new home. That's not good. In a healthy economy, you do not want the government competing with private businesses. You want the government to remove barriers to private businesses. I fully agree. Maybe they should bring back Eaton's homes. I don't know if you guys remember that, but also people need to know that the wood is not the same quality as it was like 30, 40 years ago. Like the wood itself, the grain is a lot less quality than when old trees were being cut. Squirrel says these people are invested in businesses that will profit from everything they are trying to do, all while telling us we are climate change causers. And now they tell us they gotta build super mega data centers. Oh, and need electricity and coolers needed. So much for climate change. Albert says the WEF will be building the houses. David says PP wants private industry to build it. Liberals want government to do it. That's the classic difference between the Liberals and the Conservative Party. The Conservative Party wants to empower people, remove red tape, make it easier to build home, but get private industry to build it. And then the Liberals want to usher in communism and for them to be in charge of everything and doing everything and destroy the private sector. But okay, let's see what else I got. This is a post by Kevin Bryan. I don't know who that is, but he says this is an insane misread of why housing is expensive in Canada. Market is very good at constructing homes efficiently. The problem is that government, through zoning and code, doesn't let them do so, especially at scale. No evidence at all that government can build homes cheaper than private sector. Now, Pierre made
What do you think
today. I'm going to share it with you guys. I saw the little bit of it, but it's let's see what the post says first. It says, could we even build the Canadian Pacific Railway today? Conservatives will honor the legacy of Sir John A. Macdonald and unite our country with a Canada First national energy corridor so we can stand on our own 2 feet for a change. Let's see what it says here. I'll play it for you guys. I might.
Prime Minister,
give me a sec.
could you get the railway built today? Let's not forget why John A. wanted an east-west railway. It's so that we wouldn't be so dependent on the Americans. But today, with the United States threatening tariffs, we need east-west trade more than ever before, and building that kind of project would be impossible. To start with, this Liberal minister would probably chain himself to a tree. Stephen Guilbeault, major Mark Carney supporter, got arrested climbing up the CN Tower and also climbing onto the roof of the Premier of Alberta's home, his private residence. He got arrested for those things, all to protest development. More recently, he said that the Liberal government will not support building any more roads. If you want to figure out how far back we've gone since John A.'s National Railway, consider this. To transport Alberta oil to Quebec, it needs to go through the United States, pipelines south of the border. That gives the Americans the power to cut off Canadians from our own energy supply. It must hurt you to hear that, doesn't it? Unbelievable. But it brings a smile to Donald Trump's face because he smells weakness. Worse than that, Liberals are actually forcing Canadians to fund Vladimir Putin's war machine. Despite promised sanctions on Russian oil, Canada is now even more dependent on fossil fuels from Russia.
So it may come as a surprise to many that Russian crude oil is still making its way to Canada and to the United States.
If we had more pipelines and refineries, we could replace all Russian energy with Canadian energy. We could also make hundreds of billions of dollars piping Western oil to the East Coast and then shipping it over the Atlantic, breaking European dependence on Putin and turning dollars for dictators into paychecks for our people. As Prime Minister, I'll hire ministers who don't get arrested for climbing up and protesting projects, but instead who will knock down barriers to east-west infrastructure like pipelines. And we will repeal the Liberal No Pipelines Law, C-69. But that alone will not be enough. After 10 years of watching Liberals destroy project after project, and after TransCanada Pipeline spent $1 billion on the Energy East pipeline, only to have the government change the rules and kill the project, there may not be many investors willing to take a risk on Canada's governments. So, to remove that risk, investors need certainty up front, and I will give it to them. Today I am announcing the Canada First Energy Corridor. It will be a pre-approved right-of-way for pipelines, rail lines, power lines, and other resource infrastructure. This corridor will be pre-designated, ensuring that all level of governments have provided legally binding commitments to approve projects within them. Investors would no longer face endless regulatory limbo. First Nations would be involved from the outset, ensuring that economic benefits flow directly to them and that their approval is guaranteed before the dollars are even spent. We will bring home our money, business, paychecks, and energy independence. We will break our dependence on the U.S. and become more attached to our fellow compatriots across Canada. And we will seek to honor the legacy of John A. Macdonald and his railway by adding pipelines, power lines, roads, and rail that bind our country together, one nation, bound into a united country, self-reliant, sovereign, standing on our own 2 feet. We will put Canada first. Let's bring it home.
That was a good video. Now I'm wondering how they're going to do that. Are they going to force Quebec to allow the pipelines through? Eaton home. Melanie says, I live in an Eaton's home in 1909. Yes, bring back Eaton's home. Just so people know what that is. That was a government built homes. It was a private company that you'd have a catalog that you could look through. Here, I'm just gonna. Here, I'll show you guys what they look like. Let's just find it quickly here. I went and grabbed a sweater. I was so cold. That's why I disappeared from the camera quickly. I was freezing. My hands were like ice cold. Eaton's Homes. It was like a catalog house, and what would happen is you would order it and all the parts would come and then you'd build it yourself. Here. You can kind of see them. But there was all these different ones that you could order. A lot of the homes, like farmhouses, are Eaton homes. Oh, that's pretty. Let's see. This was one of the ones. Eaton's catalog houses. I wonder what happened. Let's ask Grok. Let's ask Grok what happened to Eaton Homes. Oops. What happened to Eaton's home catalog? Right now, they probably wouldn't do it. It's probably not allowed because people would be like, oh, it's unsafe for regular people to build their own homes. You know, the red tapes would probably not allow it. So Eaton's catalog home, a significant part of Canadian architectural and social history, were mail order houses sold by Eaton Company, primarily in Western Canada from the early 1900s until the early 1930s. These homes were popular during the settlement period of the prairies, offering an affordable and practical housing solution for rural families and new settlers. Here's what happened to them over time. So the rise in popularity was between the 1910s and 1920s. The decline of the catalog home business was in the 1930s. Eaton ceased selling catalog homes by 1932. Several factors contributed to the decline. Economic shift, the Great Depression hit in 1929, devastating prairie farmers' income. So yeah, that was the dirty 30s. I don't know if you guys have heard about that or remember that. Some of you might actually be old. Well, I don't know if I have. Dirty 30s, you would be 90 years old right now. Competition and market saturation. Companies like Aladdin and United Grain Growers also offered catalog homes, but the market shrank as rural population stabilized and urban growth took precedent. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't think the cities would allow something like that now. Yeah, hundreds of Eaton's catalog homes were built, particularly in Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Manitoba. I wonder, like now you have like the prefab homes too, like the ones that like Home Hardware builds. You can go there and pick a home, they'll build it and then move it to your lot, which works in rural areas, but not in the city areas. Roger Scott says the Liberals will build concentration camp style houses. Well, I think what they're going to do is build like more. My father-in-law calls them people prisons, condo buildings. Basically, he says any building that's like closed in living like that, he calls them people prison. But they'll build like condo buildings and stuff. Carly says, I worked in construction law for 10 years. Some developers even hire a special employee who figures out how to add costs. Really? Miles says Paul Chang is corrupted to the fullest degree of the law. I agree. Roger says, because of Quebec, pipelines will have to go to Hudson Bay. Yeah, Roger says Home Hardware still has home catalogs. Home Hardware will actually build it for you. We were looking at potentially doing that when we built this house, but they didn't have any that was what we wanted. We actually had thought about doing a log house, but I've heard, and this is why we didn't end up building a log house. I didn't want a house where bugs would be able to seep in, and log houses are notorious for having cracks and stuff where bugs can seep into the house. So we went with an ICF home that we built ourselves. Does Churchill have a port? I'm not sure. I don't know. Like, the problem with Hudson Bay is that the one where here, let's do Canada map. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh shoot, I gotta go soon. I didn't even cover Le Pen. Okay, we'll talk about that later on. I'm gonna cover quickly Le Pen because I have it in the title. So, there's a video here. It's 2 minutes.
Being taken to a
She kind of explains everything usually, so I'm hoping she's gonna explain everything. I'm gonna make it go faster.
Okay, so the lawfare being used against right-wing politicians in Europe is being taken to a whole new level. Marine Le Pen, the leader of Rassemblement National, the populist right-wing party in France, has just been sentenced to 4 years in jail, of which 2 suspended, and has been barred from partaking in French politics for the next 5 years. That means that she's been barred from running against Macron for the position of the president of France. She's been convicted for allegedly embezzling European funds, misusing European funds for her national fraction of the party instead of the European fraction of the party, which I dare to bet money on the fact that if any judicial system in any European country would launch an investigation into left-wing parties to see if they were doing that, let's say 80% of them would be found guilty of the same thing, because I used to work in the European Parliament, and trust me, this is something that I think happens a lot more than they want you to believe. And of course, we will never know that because they don't launch investigations into left-wing parties, because the whole aim of this is to crush the right wing in Europe, because we're growing too fast. And so the system, the cabal, needs to come down on us through another way. And what do? Lawfare. They're banning us. They're banning our parties. They're banning politicians from running. They're convicting us of hate speech and hate crimes. That's how they do it. That's the new strategy. And think about it for a second. Embezzlement of European funds. Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, is under investigation for corruption because she closed a 35 billion euro deal with the CEO of Pfizer via text message. And we still don't have those text messages, but she is the president of the European Commission, and Marine Le Pen is not allowed to run as the president of France. If that is not two-tier politics, I don't know what is.
Interesting. So she won't be, basically they're doing to her what they did to Donald Trump to try to make it not be able to run in the election. Now, there's a video here. This was Marine Le Pen winning her first round as France outright rejected West Macron. This is why they're banning her from the election. It's just an 18-second video here. You're back with you one. I didn't realize what time it was because I started later. This was right after she got her guilty verdict. It says the French people love Marine Le Pen and demand that her guilty verdict is immediately overturned.
Attendez. Attendez, les gars. Il y a une personne qui va faire une photo avec son téléphone et qui vous diffusera la photo après.
Okay. I was while that was playing, I was trying to find a message. Debbie says, don't forget to look in your messenger. I saw the post, so but it doesn't. Let's see if I can click on it. But it's 24 minutes. Oh, the interview is not her. Oh yeah, she did do the interview here. But I won't be able to cover it. It's for 24 minutes. But I will watch it. I'll probably watch it on my way to go pick up my son. Jasmine Lane posted it 2 days ago. If you don't follow Jasmine Lane, I highly recommend you do. She does fantastic content. And she did an interview with Kyle Kemper. He probably knows all of these people. Oh, did it freeze? Bunny asked, do you have any information on sentencing council? It's about white men being jailed. To me, it sounded like no other race. I haven't heard about it. Yeah, I'll see. I'll watch it and then I'll cover it tomorrow. Okay, I've got to go. I usually have to leave. I have for sure to be in the car driving away at 2:30. So I will be back. No, not tomorrow. Sorry. I won't cover it. I'm going to do a show this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm going to have like a set schedule coming up soon. So it's going to be 3 days a week. So I can use the other 2 days to do shorter clips and do some editing and stuff so that I can post shorter clips on YouTube, because YouTube doesn't share my lives. Like it doesn't have good algorithm for live video unless you have a huge following. So I'm going to try to do short clips of the episode so that I can post those to try to build up the following on YouTube and hopefully lead to monetization. So it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it might change in the future because I might not have childcare anymore. So my nanny's heading back home. So hopefully she'll get approval to come back within a month afterwards. So, but yeah, so it might change everything. I might only do the show in the evening if I don't have childcare, because I don't want to leave my 2-year-old by himself. So it's not responsible to do that. I could potentially do it when he naps, but then again, if he wakes up, it kind of defeats. I have to stop the show and deal with him. So it'll be too difficult, I think. So we'll probably switch to evening so then I can do the show when Jonathan's home. But yeah, we'll see. I'm taking it day by day, but I will go. If you don't follow, subscribe, do all those things, like, comment, all of the things. And I will see you guys on Wednesday.